And there is just a little bit of a dark edge down here. That's in shadow. Right about here. So hopefully that will help define the edge of it. And then a lot of this just gets lost into the shadow.
So Christy, you paint a lot of flowers too. I see you have a lot of really nice flowers.
Oh, thank you. I love to paint flowers.
Oh, awesome.
I love flowers, but I'm not good at them.
Not good at them yet. Make sure you say yet.
That's the key.
Yeah.
My wife is forcing me to be really good at them.
Yeah, I don't know how good I am at them, but I sure like to paint them.
I know. They're just so fun because there's so much variety depending on what type of flower you have. And yeah, you get some vibrant colors and fun form. And,
True.
Yeah, there's so many fun things about them. I think they're just great for learning in general because they're really tough to paint. But if you take your time and really observe, you can learn so much about painting just by doing florals and different flower studies.
One trick I learned from Brian is you do the just black and white value study, and I spent 2 weeks doing only black and white 3 values for the entire 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't do
that's dedication.
Well, I can see the difference now because right now I don't see colors as much. I see values that I think about values, and they really help a ton.
Yeah. I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge with especially roses because they can be so vibrant towards the center of the rose. Mm-hmm. If you get the value off and you make it lighter or darker, depending on the color, it can throw off how the form reads of the whole flower. So it's really like those are the critical parts of especially roses. If it's a pink rose, sometimes it's hard to get that pinkish value correct towards the center.
Yes.
And I still struggle with that on almost every rose painting, just making sure I get those values correct. It's a never-ending struggle. But it does get a little easier with time. But
well, that's not super encouraging.
Yeah. It's more just
really
if you can learn the thought process of how to approach the problem, then it's still difficult, but you can overcome it is the thing. So it's
Hey, thanks.
So will you be teaching the thought process?
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to mention that tomorrow. Brian is going to talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.
Really talking about developing your mastery. And he will share with us his thought process and his mindset. Because a lot of it is really not just the skill side, but a lot of mental power. Mm-hmm. So he's going to walk us through how he just encounter all the challenges and how he learns, how he improves and all that stuff. So it's a free streaming. I sent an email out today. So if you get an email, you probably will know the link, or it's on Sentient's side. If you go to event calendar, there will be a link there. You can watch it.
Yeah, I'll make sure I watch that. Yeah, for the you had mentioned the thought process, and that's kind of when I'm painting something like this, or pretty much anything in general, I'm usually thinking when I look at the subject and I'm thinking, okay, how light is it? How dark is it? What color is it? What shape is it? And comparing that to everything around it. And then once I mix the color and then I put the brush stroke down, then I think, okay, is that too dark? Is that too light? Is the color too warm, too cold? Is it in the right position? That kind of thought process of just simple questions that you can ask yourself about, is it more red? Is it more yellow? Is it more blue? Just simple things that you can break it down so it doesn't get too complicated, but you can just quickly make judgments on what you on what you paint. And a lot of it's just, you have to always be asking yourself and thinking those questions and double checking things. And since a lot of things are relative, just making sure you're staying as accurate as you can as you go, especially with value. Because if the values you get down towards the beginning are inaccurate, then the rest of what you paint is going to be relative to that. So it can throw off everything. So you just have to make sure you take your time and double check a lot of the things you're doing. And for this green, I'm squinting down just to help me see, to kind of simplify things and see the overall value of most things. And it looks like it's just slightly darker than the surrounding yellow. So I'll make sure I get that correct. And it's a really subtle difference. So I'll just have to keep trying things. I think it's more yellow than that, so I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre to the mixture. And I'm using a transparent green called green gold, which is a nice warm green. So that looks pretty accurate. And as long as the value is pretty close, then the color doesn't have to be perfect.
That's the lesson I learned from that value exercise.
Yeah.
It's really focused on whatever you put down or mixing on your palette, you gotta look at the value first before you even think about the colors.
Yeah.
So like right now, after I did that, I barely think about colors, and I'm not even looking at the color when I'm mixing on the palette. It's really just kind of like what you're saying, like asking myself, is this too dark, too light, and just go from there.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it actually more fun to paint because I don't get as uptight on the color. Because before I would really get hung up on the color.
Yeah.
It takes forever to mix that right color, and then still look wrong because the value is wrong. Mm-hmm. Now I can mix a bit faster because I'm really just matching the values. And I actually opened up my color palette because I can really throw in some crazy colors that I usually wouldn't use, but because the value is right, I just throw it on there and it actually reads.
Yeah. And as the petals get further away from the center of the sunflower, the shadow is a little bit more towards a warm green. It's not quite as red yellow. So that'll be important to get right so it reads correctly.
Hey, Christy, I have a question for you. When you do all the flowers, do you paint them from life?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
Once I started painting from life, it was really hard to go back to pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So I started with pictures. And then, yes. So I've been ordering flowers from 50 Flowers. And they've just kind of discontinued their that really inexpensive bundle that they've been doing. So kind of bummed about that.
Oh. Are they just an online florist?
They are. And, during the crisis,
yeah.
they started offering their flowers to just everybody. They were like $40 for 2 dozen of gorgeous garden roses.
Ah.
And I do still have some of those, but they're the rainbow mix, and I am not nuts about the rainbow mix as much. So anyway, I know, a little picky. I like those O'Hara roses a lot.
Yeah.
And they do still have those, but they're at a higher price. So, and I've ordered their peonies a couple of times, and they are spectacular.
Your peony paintings are good.
You like those? Thank you. Well, thank you. I sell a lot of them.
Awesome.
I do enjoy doing them, but I would like to, always get better. So
yeah. Well, I'll have to check out their website because I've been looking for some alternatives since we're in a pretty small town. So I just have to go to our local grocery store has sunflowers available, but it isn't always the greatest selection. So
I know. I understand.
Things. Yeah.
You should have told me.
What part of Colorado?
Woodland Park. Do you know Colorado Springs?
Yes, my children live in Colorado Springs.
Okay. It's just a little north of Colorado Springs. It's about half an hour. But not the greatest selection, but I'm thankful I at least have something. So I can usually find, occasionally they have some really nice roses. So I pick those up whenever I can.
Well, do look at 50 Flowers.
Yeah.
You would probably love them.
Mm-hmm.
And you paint so well. I mean, you would just do them justice.
Oh, thank you.
I got some wild sunflowers in my side yard. Somehow it just started growing last year. We just left them there. We didn't do anything because they're so pretty. Yeah. Now they're like 9 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
They're huge. Yeah. So I got a whole bunch of them growing on the side yard, just kind of hanging out there by themselves.